After the class customization changes to Tarkov Arena this wipe, I've been grinding Arena only and have barely touched the main game. It's around 3 weeks or so into wipe and I've leveled to mid 30s. Even though I've been grinding for 3 weeks leveling at a slower pace that I would have if I played the main game, I still have yet to burn out. The introduction of Search and Destroy and Free-for-All has given the game a breath of fresh air. My gameplay loop besides doing dailies and unlocking attachments has been nearly identical to the competitive FPS games I'm familiar with. You use Free-for-All to practice your aim and movement, then you play Search and Destroy to cook up and test strategies that help you win rounds. Tarkov Arena has been a blast, and I don't think I'll bother with getting my pocket watch until mid-wipe. When looking at class customization, the garbage World of Tanks tier system has been completely scrapped. In place is a well-balanced, customizable class system. Assault is a class with ammo that starts to pen class 4, so around 36 to 41 pen, and they're kitted with class 5 armor. Enforcer has class 3 penning ammo with class 6 armor.
Rapperino.
What is this?
I think they're holding it down. They're camping their spawn. All dead.
Scout can pen class 5 but can only wear class 4. And finally Marksman with ammo like M61 or S&B. They can pen class 6 but most of their guns are semi-only. For the guns that can full auto, the ammo you get is the same as the Scout class, only penning class 5.
One more wood. Reloading, left.
Yeah, dude, SG6 is so fucking OP, what the fuck, it just melts the guy.
Nope.
Every item has a metascore value. All of your gear must add up to at least 11k and a maximum of 13k. Different classes will have a different maximum metascore for each category. So an Enforcer that has access to class 6 will have a larger maximum metascore value for armor than something like a Scout. A crazy full meta M4 build will have a meta value far higher than a weaker weapon. So you're forced to run less mags on a stronger gun to keep your kit under the threshold. Sometimes you might even have to start top loading ammo to keep your metascore down. You can also go for the opposite, run a weaker gun but carry lots of ammo. But as of now, the meta is a good gun with less mags. When playing S&D or teamfight, you're locked to 2 players per class. With each class having their own strengths and weaknesses, it'll allow different teams to strategize based on their own playstyle. This is all very well thought out and balanced. When playing BLASTGANG, you'll notice kills and rounds feel significantly faster than traditional search and destroy games like CS or Valorant. This is largely due to map design. When looking at a traditional S&D map, let's take Dust 2 for example, it's a 3-lane map with connectors mostly near the defending side. The bomb sites are also a lot closer to the defender spawn than the attacker spawn. Having only 3 lanes allows attacking players to stack more players onto one lane for an offensive strategy. The defenders have relatively safe routes through the connectors for rotating in response to these strategies. This creates an environment that promotes utility play and multi-man pushes. If you take a look at the average BLASTGANG map, it has 4 lanes with a lot of connectors in between each lane. Bomb sites are moved a bit further up. As defenders, this can mean contacting the enemy right as you get into the site. This kind of map design encourages individual skill in taking duels. The way the connectors are designed allow you to support a lane quickly if a fight is going south. They also section off the lanes, allowing players to cover multiple lanes if they control a connector. This differs to a traditional S&D map design, where the lack of sightlines means losing one lane will lose you the entire section of the map. Instead of having a ton of utility to drop onto site for control, you're now limited to 1 or 2 flashes or nades you pick up at the start of the round. This tiny amount of util is used to gain advantage on an early fight in a high threat location. Take this clip for example. I flash into wood and pick up 2 kills, and now I have wood control. Whether I get these 2 kills are largely irrelevant. Even if I have no kills, I can still use this position to control A. If an attacker wants to take site, they now have to worry about a potential crossfire or a fast flank. Fighting for control at the start of the round is how you kill time as a defender, or control site as an attacker. Instead of dropping a smoke at a choke and then waiting 13 seconds to drop a molly as a CT, or throwing every possible ability you have onto site as an attacker, we take gunfights in Tarkov Arena. The amount of focus on mechanical skill to win fights is what sets Tarkov Arena apart from games like CS and Valorant where they can feel a bit too samey at times. PvP is hard, and many players, whether new or veterans of the main game, are always trying to improve. In the main game, this can mean kitting up your guy for 3 minutes, waiting in queue and loading for 5, and then finally you spawn, but you still have to run for at least a couple of minutes to find good fights and hot zones. This can mean a minimum of 10 minutes of downtime before a PvP encounter. If you lose the fight, then that's another 10 minutes you have to invest before the next engagement. All of this wasted time is cut down exponentially in Last Hero. I can confidently say that in my 3 weeks of playing Arena so far, Last Hero has net me more PvP encounters than the entirety of the last 2 wipes combined. My Tarkov movement and aim feels one step below the best I've ever been, and I've barely touched the game since the Unheard announcement. If you want to improve, queue only BLASTGANG maps on FFA DM and use it to learn the maps. Don't sit in a corner and try to win. Just hard push every opportunity you get so you can learn how to fight angles. There are a couple of things you should focus on if you want to get better. In this order, starting with 1, you need to be aware of keeping the center of your screen at head level so you're always ready and pre-aimed on their heads before an engagement. 2. When picking a fight, learn to build speed before a corner so you can swing at your maximum move speed. 3. You should always swing out leaning, so you need to learn where your spray goes when leaned out and strafing. 4. After swinging out, if you want to go back into cover, you need to learn how to circle strafe and change directions. Figure out how your gun sways when you change directions so you can adjust accordingly. Once you're confident in your aggressive movement and shooting, start playing BLASTGANG. In BLASTGANG, no one can spawn behind you. This is a slower paced style of gameplay, and it's closer to what you'll experience PvPing in a normal Tarkov raid. You'll be using BLASTGANG to figure out how to get information with low risk. Here, you can practice jiggle peeking, jumping over cover, b-hopping, just using everything you can to find out where your opponent is without being shot. Once you've found them, do whatever you can to win the fight. You can do sound baits, crouch lean peeks, or even just swing on them. Eventually, you'll get a feel of what tactic you should be using, depending on where your opponent's position and actions are. You'll naturally start seeing opportunities to apply what you've learned into real raids. Once you play Arena, you'll come back to Tarkov like a different person. If you want to get better at PvP, Arena is the best way to improve. There's nothing else in Tarkov that can compare. As always, thanks for watching. I hope it helped. Sub, like, whatever YouTube things, more social media here.
Two more.
Oh my, why would you